Hey, what's up guys, aarava here, and welcome back to the episode of my F1 2021 My Team Career Mode, episode number 60 today for the Monaco Grand Prix in Season 4. If you guys did miss the previous one at the Portuguese Grand Prix, then be sure to go check that one out before you see this one uploaded a couple of days ago on Sunday, just after the IRL Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. A very topsy-turvy Portimao race, I would say. Engine failure galore. Obviously, if you've watched it by now, it wasn't just for Mick Schumacher in the Red Bull. That was, close call anyway. That could have been a DNF for us. Didn't matter in the end because, of course, in the end of it, we DNF'd anyway as our engine went pop. It was actually the internal combustion engine. You'll see a little bit later when we look at the menus for the engine system. So the entire kind of main bit of the power unit gave up. No wonder the McLaren was looking so damn quick just before it failed. Norris was flying at us down that straight. And even, majority of that race, it just felt like we were missing a little bit of speed here and there. I thought it was going to be maybe another ERS failure like we had at Bahrain, but no, it was a total engine failure. A big DNF meant we lost a load of points, and especially to our teammate Jenson Button, and we remarked this last episode, if we took Jenson out of the equation, this is a remarkably close championship. Gasly, Verstappen, Leclerc, myself, all separated by 1 point. Perez only 2 points back, then only 8 points, and you've got Guan Yu Zhou in the Williams. It's crazy, but Jenson Button is there, and he has been the most consistent man of the season, yet to come off the podium since his return to Formula 1. I guess we know why. He is maybe one of the icon drivers in My Team Career Mode, the 2009 World Champion, not losing any of his mojo, but at some point you think that momentum is going to break a little bit. If it doesn't, it might not, and if it doesn't, well, Button may be running away with this quite early on, but, we've still got a long way to go in this championship, and we come to Monaco, the place where we did a miracle last season, remember, where we started on intermediates, even though everyone was on full wets. It was a magical race, a magical time, really, so anything could happen at Monaco, especially if there's rain. I'm not sure about that, though. So far this season, we've only had one little wet session at Portimao, so let's see. But for Monaco, it's a special place, of course. This time around, we don't have a special one-off livery, but I do have a special different helmet design for this race. We've got kind of a rustic, old feel helmet. Took some inspiration from Lando's real-life Monaco helmet this season with the old-style goggles, and then everything else is kind of in this bronze brown, taking some inspiration from Sebastian Vettel's Monaco helmet a few seasons ago, back when he was in the Red Bull. But yeah, coming off the back of that engine failure then last episode, we've lost a complete internal combustion engine there on that row of the engine components. We didn't receive any R&D for it. To be fair, we don't actually need extra R&D, of course, for the entire car, because everyone is now getting towards their maxed out cars. I think pretty much Haas are the only AI team now left not to max out their car. Apart from that, the entire grid now in this season has a maxed out car, so we don't need extra R&D, but obviously our team looked into it. They apologized for it. We've lost a whole big part of the power unit then, so that's gonna make a difference. We've only got 2 left now for the remainder of this season, so pretty much guarantees at some point now later on in the season we will have to take at least one 5-place penalty for the internal combustion engine. Obviously there'll be other parts that I'm sure will be worn out, so we'll look to tactically maybe take that at a race where we feel like we can go well, but let's just see how this one goes with a fresh power unit in the back of this thing around the Principality. Saturday looks to be, well, at starting all dry. There is some forecast for rain later on this Saturday, but the first part of qualifying pretty straightforward. Jenson Button, though, looking strong again. This man's AI is just bonkers right now. I think he's built so much momentum for these 3 podiums. The focus is high. His stats high anyway, with our HQ facilities and whatnot. At the moment, I'm kind of questioning, can anyone, let alone me, can any of the other drivers even stop Jenson Button and his consistency right now? It's been mega. But we move into the second part of qualifying then. Still sunny skies, but there's a little bit of cloud cover coming over, so I think the rain may be on the way for the last part of qualifying, so crucial to get through into this top 10 shootout before any rain maybe arrives late on at the very end of this session, even into the next one, as we now go through the final corner. The rear wing is red, and it fails for us across the line, so we lost a bit of DRS across the line. Wasn't too much of an issue, though, because, we're pretty much at the end of the lap. That's only a tiny little straight here. DRS really doesn't make that much of a difference around Monaco, so I can live with that. We've got a few people yet to set their times there. Mick Schumacher leaving it late. Gasly, though, is the one who leaves it the latest. No one else went out there at the end because it started raining. Gasly was was on his own on a damp track and did not make it. Last race's race winner is knocked out of the second part of qualifying. Both Alpha Tauris are knocked out, showing, when the rain starts falling, you have to get your lap in early. And, obviously the rest of us got that first run in. A couple of people on the mediums there, and the only two people that made it work are the Red Bulls. So that could be amazing for the Red Bull team in tomorrow's race, with the tyre wear being a little bit questionable sometimes around Monaco. We've seen, over 90% tyre wear sometimes by the end of the races. If you're not careful, Schumacher and Perez both can start on the medium tyre. The rest of us through on the softs there. The McLaren's looking stronger here, and both Williams, I want to note there, have also made it through into this top 10 shootout. Whether they're going to go well or not, let's see, because you can clearly see now it's a very different visual, spectacle on the circuit. The rain is falling. The floodlights are out here around Monaco, as they always do come out when it rains, kind of unrealistically, but anyway, in intermediate conditions right now, so it's kind of trying to get the best lap in, because the rain is falling harder and harder, and it may even be time for the full wet tyres by the end of the session. So that first run was crucial. It's P5 for us there, just behind Button, and that is actually going to be it, because if you look on to the rest of the track, it is getting even wetter. You can see the icon on the bottom indicates for that's full wet. That's, raining even heavier. So that would be the blue wall tyre. We're not going to improve on that. The session time, there's not enough time to go even set a lap anyway, let alone the fact that, we're having to switch to the full wet if we wanted to run. So that is it. It's a bit of a short and sweet qualifying section for this Monaco video. Usually qualifying's got a massive part of Monaco, obviously, because it's, probably the most important qualifying of this season. But the sessions flew by, and we hardly got many laps in, Everyone pretty much got, on average, 1 lap a session because of those weird conditions. Started raining at the end of Q2 and rained heavier at the end of this session. So that lap was our lap, and it got us P7 again behind Jenson Button. The two Red Bulls looking really good. Perez on pole position, checkerboard of Red Bull McLaren, but the Red Bulls can start on the mediums tomorrow. That's going to be pretty damn exciting. But it's pretty insane, even though they didn't do any better than, those bottom positions. The fact that both Williams got through into the top 10 shootout, that in itself is a massive achievement for them. But let's see what the race holds. From P7, we may have a bit of a difficult Grand Prix, but the strategy may come into play with the tyre wear around here in an all-dry race.
A proper road race, and in the true meaning of the word. That was how Mr. Monaco, the late great Graham Hill, once described this iconic event. The cars we drive have come a long way in the intervening half-century, but still we race on those same public roads beside the Mediterranean Sea. There's no victory more coveted than that of the Monaco Grand Prix. We're on the French Riviera once more this weekend at the 2-mile-long Circuit de Monaco. The cars will climb around 40 metres up the hill, past the casino, and then descend downwards towards the harbour through Sector 2. It's a very short run from pole position to the first of the 19 corners at Saint-Devote, and don't expect to see much overtaking here today. It's just about time to go to the track for the beginning of the race, but before we do, Anthony Davidson, what types of strategy do you think we can expect for today's event?
Well, there's a lot that both the driver and the team have to keep in mind when going into a race. The tyres, fuel, energy recovery systems, the list goes on and on. But I think the key to today's victory will come down to the pit stop strategy. Come in too soon and you might find yourself needing more than one stop. Too late and you're putting yourself at a disadvantage by spending longer on worn tyres.
Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's race. Sergio Perez will lead us away from pole position, with Daniel Ricciardo slotting in alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Mick Schumacher, Verstappen, Jenson Button, the owner-driver, Joe, Russell, Bottas and Carlos Sainz, Tsunoda, Giovinazzi, Lando Norris and Gasly, Ocon, Leclerc, Lance Stroll and Callum Islet, Latifi, Matsushita, Hamilton and Christian Lundgaard. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
So it is indeed going to be nice and dry for this season's Monaco Grand Prix. So far, doing quite well of not having as much ridiculous rain as we did in Season 3. Perez remains on pole position, but Lando Norris is not there with the checkerboard of Red Bull and McLaren. He takes a grid penalty. He's down to P13. You've got Leclerc all the way down there. I didn't even notice that and didn't mention it at the time, but, you know, both Ferraris did not make it through into the top 10 shootout. Leclerc got knocked out in Q1. It's been a howler of a weekend for the home favourite and Ferrari as a whole. The team that I thought were going to be right up there, but they just keep making blunders and not using the potential of their car, which is clearly there because we're seeing it in spurts in the races so far that they do have some pace there, but they're just not putting it all together, whereas the other teams are. So Red Bull may be looking very handy. They've got two cars up against one of Ricciardo there and then one of Verstappen in the other silver arrow. Myself and Jenson, what can we do today? It's going to be apparently a one-stop from soft to medium, but we've seen before those tyres really don't go that long, especially with the levels of downforce we have on this copper cars, so we're going to have to watch out for that. Maybe able to do a clever, aggressive two-stop instead to try and cut through the traffic and those who try and stick it out on the older tyres. Let's see though, as we go to 5 red lights for the duel in the Formula 1 calendar. The Monaco Grand Prix is underway. Round 4, the lights are out and it's a good start versus Jenson into turn 1, side by side for Schumacher and Verstappen. Ricciardo is up into the lead. He's jumped Perez clean into turn 1. The McLaren leads, Ricciardo leads from Perez. Then it's Verstappen up into third place. He jumped Schumacher. The two were side by side. We've jumped Jenson Button, our teammate, and Guan Yu Zhou is trying to jump George Russell here. The Williams, the Chinese driver, doing battle with Russell. This is fantastic. They're still side by side as we go through this iconic shot of the hairpin, and Guan Yu Zhou has maintained P7. He's got ahead of the Alpine there. It's an Alpine sandwich with the two Williams either side. Zhou and Bottas there, P7 and 9, and then Sainz up into P10. Norris has gained one position to P13 in his McLaren from P13 on the grid, and Leclerc way down in P15. Hamilton, even worse, P20. He's had an absolute shocker at the start of this Grand Prix. It was obviously down the order anyway due to some grid penalties, I believe, as well. So plenty of action, plenty of quick cars, you know, or quote-unquote quick cars and quick drivers down the order. You know, Tsunoda, Gasly, last race's race winner. What can they do? It's going to be difficult this race, though, because even on the game now, as of late, the AI have gotten better over the years on the F1 game, they've actually kind of got worse for racing in a way because they're becoming too clever. They're actually blocking each other so well now, like they do in real life, that you're not seeing as many, I think, crazy races in Monaco with like racing side by side in action as we maybe used to, maybe like, you know, 2-3 games ago from the F1 games, because, you know, the AI now just better. You know, they're defending against each other and against me as well. You know, it's going to be a challenge for us to do anything from here. P5, you know, we're now up to lap number 8, and literally the pecking order is the exact same. So literal Monaco IRL vibes. Nothing's really changed here. We've got Ricciardo in the lead. He's been pressurized by Perez. You can see in the minimap there, Perez within 1 second of Ricciardo. Then a massive gap because Verstappen has been really struggling on those softs, and he's holding up Schumacher on the better mediums now. But we're going to come in on lap 8 then. Had enough of looking at the rear wing of Schumacher and Verstappen for 8 laps, and we're going to come in early for an aggressive pit stop, and we are going to be maybe aiming for a 2-stop. We can still do a 1-stop from here. We just may struggle at the very end, like we did, if you remember, at the very end of F1 2020's My Team Career Mode, where we did this same sort of strategy where we went long on the mediums and tried to stick it out. Didn't really end too well for me, I think, back then in, what was it, Season 8 of F1 2020 My Team. Let's see, though. I think we are going to commit, though, to the 2-stop today because the tyre wear is very high, and already I feel about 1,000,000 times better on these medium tyres. Down the inside and have the confidence to make that dive work on Stroll like it's nothing there, but it's a really tasty overtake into Mirabeau, and then at the hairpin almost pushing Ocon through. So just showing that even these guys on the hards and mediums, they're feeling some, you know, some wear, and these fresh mediums are working such a treat. We're past Ocon on the inside there, catching Leclerc. A bit of a puff of smoke that was. I think that was off the Ferrari. Don't know if that was just him grazing the floor or what, or will the Ferrari have an issue to come, God forbid. But we catch up up to Leclerc, the home favourite P14 at the moment, staring in the back of Gasly, who's stuck behind an Alfa Romeo. Seems like a bit of a moving roadblock, but we're going to come right through down the inside of Raskas there and make our one infamous move for the Monaco Grand Prix race on Leclerc. That is going to be quite frustrating for the Ferrari man up into P14, but we're just using the better tyre. Even his mediums, 11 laps old, they're going to be pretty worn out. And, you know, the same for Gasly and Giovinazzi. Can we get past the Frenchman left and right? We're trying to suss out where we can go. Maybe on the outside, no, of Casino Square. Now to the inside of Mirabeau. I think that's where we're next going to try it. Gasly is really parking the car very annoyingly against me, but we're able to just about slip through. We had a little half attempt at Giovinazzi, but last minute I thought, you know what, I don't fancy causing an accident in the hairpin there, so we thought better of it, of sticking it down the inside of the Italian there. But Gasly was really doing a good job up until Mirabeau, being quite frustrating. I think he was, to be fair, looking at Giovinazzi more so than looking at me and defending me, so in the end we kind of called him napping a little bit on the inside. But now can we get the Italian? Good exit there. Look at this grip difference on the inside. Easy does it at one of with the most unorthodox places to make an overtake at Monaco, but we make it work for ourselves, and we're up into now P12 on lap 11, and we're making just general good progress on these fresh tyres. Cleaner up ahead because Norris and Bottas are going to come in for the pits.
Looks like we're experiencing an ERS software glitch. The issue seems to be fixed, but we will keep monitoring it our end.
Well, we've got another ERS issue. Look at the bottom right there. I can't click overtake. I don't know how long that's going to last for, so our pace may be disrupted a little bit as we try and chase after Ricciardo and Tsunoda through the tunnel on lap 12 later. It comes back there. You can see my engineer telling me as well. So we've got ERS back, and now we can get back onto pace and trying to close up to the Aussie, who, remember, was in the lead of this Grand Prix, let's not forget. Obviously, I know Perez and Schumacher, they're staying out for a lot longer, so we won't know where the Red Bulls are in this race until later, because they both were on mediums. But the fact that I'm only 2.8 behind the previous race leader is a very good thing. We're coming back into this race, and we may have even got ourselves into the podium fight. We're ahead of Verstappen because he pit on the same lap as Norris and Bottas there, and we creep through ahead of a few more cars, and we're now into P6. But like I said, Perez here in the lead. It's a 1-2 for Red Bull. They're both on the medium, so they're going a lot longer and trying this kind of alternate one-stop, I would say. Sainz in P3. He was outside the top 10, so he also started on the medium. So could the Ferrari actually be onto something pretty good here? He's 9 seconds back for the Red Bull, though, so that is a kind of annoying, awkward gap. He may slot in into some traffic. Tsunoda, P4, he's also going long on mediums, but he's kind of not really in the fight, with Sainz or the two Red Bulls. He's kind of annoying Ricciardo and backing him into me. Then behind Giovinazzi, Gasly, Ocon, Stroll, Latifi. Then it's Verstappen. That's how far he's fallen by going on the softs for about, 4 or 5 laps longer. The tyre wear so bad as we see a beautiful move by George Russell there on the outside of the Haas. That was exquisite. Up into P15. Hamilton P14. He's the next car for the Brit to chase after. And then we've got Jenson Button and Lando Norris and Leclerc down in, well, the bottom spots. P19, P20, 21. I don't know where their race is going to end up as we now have a little half look at Ricciardo in Raskas at the moment. A little bit worrying for Jenson's sake of being that far down. And again, the reigning world champion Lando Norris down the order with Leclerc as well. I mean, we already knew his race was going poorly, but the fact that Jenson and Lando are both back down there, I don't know what's going on with them. Maybe they lost a lot of paces. Now, lap 16, and the Monaco streets are filled with smoke as Lewis Hamilton is having a massive engine failure. This is huge. I don't see usually this much smoke coming out of an engine for an AI failure, but Hamilton's engine goes up in flames. Mercedes they may be looking quicker in the hands of Verstappen this season, but they're having a howler in terms of reliability. A DNF for Verstappen at Bahrain, DNF here for Hamilton, not great for them. Meanwhile, Button, he's up into P18, Norris 19, Leclerc 20. They're all closing up to a Haas car of Matsushita P17. So, yeah, I don't know what's going on, they're maybe out to sync. You've got Button on the hard tyre, so he's going to the end, I presume. You've got Norris on the medium, so he's going for a bit of an audacious one. one stop there going longer. But I don't really know how they ended up this far back, you know. But I guess, you know, if you look at where Verstappen was, or is right now, P12, I guess the time gaps from where Button was pre the pit stops to where Verstappen is, I guess that kind of figures out as Button now makes a move on the outside and gets into clean air. You know, chasing after Guan Yu Zhou. And then you've got Norris, who's going to look to overtake the Haas as well. I think it's going to be a move maybe in the tunnel. He's going to size it up there. And on the inside he goes. It's a really ballsy move. He commits to the inside and he gets the overtake done into P18 and go try and keep up with Jenson Button. And both of them are looking to try and bounce and catapult themselves up the order. As meanwhile, on the other side of the spectrum, we're trying to close up on Ricciardo and Tsunoda there. And oh, Tsunoda's slow! Tsunoda's slow! Perez is coming out of the pit lane. He's made his pit stop. He's on the hard compound attire. But what happened to Yuki Tsunoda? He got held up. Did he back out because of Perez? Was that a team order from Red Bull to AlphaTauri? What on earth went on there? Let's look at a replay and listen in. He just starts braking, or is his engine cut out? He's not got a mechanical issue, because he's now fine. He sounds fine in the engine now into turn 1. So I think either his AI thought he was going to crash into Perez and therefore started braking, or that was some weird team order thing that I've never seen happen. But Tsunoda way down the order then, and we're up, you know, we're 2 places then, Perez and Tsunoda. But of course Perez on fresh hards, and as much as I wanted to push away from Perez, he's now attacking us, and we go wide. The understeer kicking is the tyre wear has hit us, and we go opposite lock, having to drift through. I think there was a little bit of contact made as Perez tried to make an audacious little dive bomb and lunge into Casino Square. We live to fight for another day in P2, but Perez is in. Oh no, Perez, he must have made some contact with us. And remember, we've got simulation damage. Now, as much as that's great for me as well to be careful, it means the AI can be susceptible to some silly mistakes and accidents. And, well, this is why. This is a replay. Ooh, I think that little bit of contact there, you saw my rear end snap. That's because I just got oversteer. Perez tries to go down the inside. To be honest, from this onboard, that doesn't look too bad. From the offboard, it looks worse. But from Perez's onboard there, that hardly looks like a touch at all, really. And visually, he doesn't actually have damage. So there's no visual damage, but he must have enough subtle damage that his team think it's enough to make the front wing change. There's the contact, I think, there on my bargeboard end plate. So that's actually really bad luck for Perez's AI. So, you know, apologies to him. It's kind of, I don't think anyone's fault, really, because we're just racing there, and it's hard to race in Monaco. My rear end stepped out there, so that was kind of the catalyst for it, but just trying to keep the car in a straight line and not crash myself, really. So Perez, unfortunately, just kind of, you know, victim of the simulation damage. So now his teammate Schumacher will be the one that comes at me. Now, we've got an interesting development here. Lance Stroll, he's in P4 now. He's on mediums, and he's not pit yet. Lance Stroll's not pit yet, and he's forming a massive train behind him. Look at this. All the way down to pretty much Giovinazzi, I think, and Ocon. From P4 down to P16, there is effectively a train being made. It's not a nose-to-tail train exactly, but it's a train nonetheless, because Stroll is yet to pit in this Grand Prix. His tyres are very heavily worn, but they can't overtake him. So that is going to be very bad news for everyone behind him. Meanwhile, Schumacher in the very feisty Red Bull making a lunge on the inside out the tunnel. Lock up. Oh, Schumacher with the committed dive bomb there. We had to back out of that a bit, and the Red Bull super aggressive, and it's, well, I gotta say, a fantastic move by him. I kind of almost got bullied off the road a little bit there by Schumi, but it's because, you know, he's got such great pace. He's already 1.9 ahead of us. That German, he's looking to try and chase after the Aussie for the race lead maybe. Meanwhile, you've got Sainz making contact as he tries to overtake Lance Stroll. That's a bit of front wing damage, and so let alone Stroll. Now you've got Sainz on lap 26. He's going to hold everyone up. So the reason why I'm showing you this and the reason why I'm talking about it is because as we've been going on through this race, Stroll and our Sainz have been subtly helping me out because they're building the gap to me in P3. So effectively, look at this train. It's ridiculous. It is crazy. And so to effect, I can make my second pit stop, the 2-stop I want to make. I can make that. I can cover off Ricciardo because remember, Ricciardo's on mediums as well. So in case Ricciardo can't get to the end on those mediums and he makes a later pit stop to bail out and go to the 2-stop, I can counteract that, cover that off by making an earlier pit stop, and I'll still come out in P3 because the gap, the pit stop time is 25 seconds. I think I've nearly, not quite yet, but nearly got 25 seconds on Lance Stroll. So we just push a little bit quicker. By the time we want to come in for our pit stop, we could have a whole pit stop on Lance Stroll and the rest of the grid, which sets ourselves up to either, remain in third place, or we could steal second if Ricciardo cannot get to the end. Because I know Schumacher is getting to the end. He's on hard tyres. It's all about Ricciardo. Can he get to the end on those mediums? I know I can't. Lap 27, I think it's time to come in. We've got the pit stop window there. I'd rather go on softs, maybe try and even nick the fast lap of the Grand Prix like they do in real life. We've got the pit stop window, so let's pit, try and steal the one more extra point in this championship. And then also at the same time, we're there to pick up the pieces if Ricciardo leaves it too late. Because the thing is, with the 2-stop, especially at a place like Monaco, you have to commit early. If you go too late for the 2-stop, you're going to hurt yourself because you've already lost the time being on the worn tyres. You need to commit early. So if Ricciardo doesn't, we'll be in a good position, and we are going to go ahead and look to nick the fast lap of the Grand Prix. With 9 laps to go, we get purple, and so we've got that one extra point. But now this is the important thing. Lap 33, Ricciardo's been going a bit slow, and he is going to come in now, off the mediums, off the race lead, and so that will hand Mick Schumacher surely the race victory today around the Monaco Grand Prix in the Red Bull car. He's on the hard compound, he can go to the end. Red Bull did the hard work yesterday by qualifying both on the mediums. Obviously, Perez unfortunately got taken out of this race by that contact with me in my side pod. It would have been a 1-2 for Red Bull if it wasn't for that. So a bit of a shame for Red Bull, again getting unlucky. But there is Ricciardo. He's coming out of the pit lane and he's well behind me. We're up into second place. Ricciardo third. But now, remember, I just went to softs. My soft tyre is going to wear out really, really quickly. So Ricciardo may come back at us actually by the end of this race. So can we hang on to this P2? That's the question. Meanwhile, Button, he's up into P8 now. Norris P9. Perez just about into the points there. So they're somewhat recovering, but you've got some great drives in the form of Russell, Bottas, Guan Yu Zhou. The two Williams are in the top 7 right now at Monaco. They're looking very, very good. We move back to our POV then. Lap 34, catching infamous traffic here at Monaco. Blue flags. These guys need to get out of the way. Mashasita holding me up by a good second, I would say, through the last couple of corners there. Ricciardo is looking pretty damn quick. We're going to hold the purple lap, but my soft tyres are wearing out as we go on to the end of the Grand Prix. Ricciardo is getting quicker and quicker in the McLaren in third place. Can he try and steal second from me? We've done so well to commit to the aggressive 2-stop, keep our head calm, and just stick to the plan. And we've been rewarded right now with the track position, but can we hold the track position? That's the question. Ricciardo is looking quick. He's got DRS here. We're deploying ERS all the way down this straight, but Ricciardo comes at us at a rate of knots. My rear wing has indicated it's broken. The DRS doesn't work, but in doing so, we lost concentration a little bit. Ricciardo has got a great exit off turn 1. We're side by side, grazing his side pod round the outside at Casino Square, banging tyres, and we're still in second place somehow. How's Ricciardo not overtaken us? Our rear wing's broken there, the DRS is broken, but we're maintaining track position somehow there. Ricciardo got a great run on us, but it just wasn't enough. Meanwhile though, late drama for Russell and Bottas. That is a massive howler for them. They can't go to the end. On to the last lap of the Grand Prix. Guan Yu Zhou up into P5. Jenson P6. Norris 7th. Perez, Gasly and Giovinazzi now are your top 10 because Russell and Bottas have to pit for a late pit stop. What a massive, massive shame for Russell, and more so Bottas. Yet again, more bad luck for the Finn, and again, Guan Yu Zhou is the only man scoring points for Williams in this season. Mick Schumacher, though, what a victory for him. Executed perfectly by Red Bull. You got to give it to them. They did a great strategy on the medium tyre to counteract this tyre wear. First place for Mick Schumacher. It's his first win of the season, the first win for his new team at Red Bull. We come home second place and the fast lap of the Grand Prix. I will have to take that, but it's a really actually very, very good result. Maximum we could have hoped for, because the Red Bulls, they always had the advantage because of the medium tyre strategy, really.
It was a magnificent race and a drive right out of the top draw to take the win for Red Bull today. Talk to me, Ants. What was it that set them apart from the competition today?
I feel like consistency was probably the key today. There's being quick, and then there's being quick lap after lap after lap. If you can do that, you can capitalise on other people's errors without making many of your own. And that's an approach that can push you a long way up the field.
Red Bull are our winners today after showcasing some incredible driving. There's been a huge push from them lately to stay competitive with the other teams, and they're certainly proving themselves.
So the top two of the Monaco Grand Prix are two of the people that DNF'd last time out at Portimao, remember. Schumacher with an engine failure, myself as well, and we're in the top two. I guess a little bit of Formula 1 karma up there. The F1 gods looking down upon us, but Schumacher wins for the first time in his new team and has another win to his tally from the ones he got for us last season. Ricciardo P3, good solid showing for him. Button, ever the consistent man. At one point he was in 20th and he comes back all the way, just keeps his head down. P6, a few points to limit the damage in the championship this early stage. Verstappen, a quiet race for him in P4. Guan Yu Zhou, again, being the team leader for Williams, scoring some more points. He's still in the top 10 in a Williams. That's very impressive indeed. But Jenson remains at the top by 17 points. We're into second once again, but it's still so close behind Jenson. So it's kind of just all of us chasing after him and hoping at one point he's not this consistent, because he's still in the top, 6 there. So we'll just see again next time if, there's any race where Jenson won't be able to come back through. He's doing a great job for our team, of course, because in the constructors, we're looking really strong versus everyone else. It's such a close fight between everyone else. Red Bull, McLaren, Ferrari, Williams, Alpine, Mercedes. But for us, myself and JB doing a solid effort. But this was a really good podium in Monaco and a great way to bounce back after the DNF last time out. Guys, if you did enjoy the episode, hit the like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you're around here, then do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content. And I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.